Hey there, Skullheads. I'm Snags.
And I'm old Silky.
And I'm Alan.
We got Alan Beetle Bailey in the house. Back on the attack with us for an Evil Knievel episode.
This is
And he's
episode
our
121, and it's also our season opener.
Yeah.
this is our third anniversary episode. Um, beginning of season 4, episode 121. For some reason we keep doing this shit, even though you fuckers aren't paying us anything. So I don't know what's going on there. We're supposed to get rich off this and be able to, travel the world and buy private jets and stuff. It's just, come
Well,
on,
that
people.
yeah, you were supposed to make that dream for me come true 20 years ago with your
Oh,
films.
that's right. You were gonna make music for my films. Yeah, I know. It keeps not happening.
See,
What's
that
going
I
can't
know.
on?
happen. Um,
Hey, we
all
got a
right.
we
Well,
got a cameo here,
go
right
ahead.
behind old Silky.
The Snags is silky.com. We got t-shirts. We got
Action figures.
yeah. We got everything. You name it, you buy it. We need money. The government shut down and
Oh,
there
wow.
might be another
Easy.
pandemic.
Easy, fella. Okay. Evil
Poor
Knievel.
kid is having to be raised in.
Jane,
Oh, he needs
back
his Lego
my
sets.
head.
Okay.
Anyways, back to the basement.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, get back in the basement.
Back
All
in the
right.
basement.
So, Alan is our resident Evil Knievel expert. This show was his idea, so he's going to be leading the show with me and with some notes and stuff. Me and old Silky are going to be the witty banter. So
Well, I wanted to start the show with a motorcycle joke to set the tone. So you got a Honda biker, a Harley biker, and a Triumph biker, and they're all uh, sitting around the campfire late at night. And the Honda guy says, "Hey, Honda bikers are the toughest. I was riding my bike the other day and this 18 wheeler blocked off the intersection. I had to lay my bike down. I slid under the 18 wheeler, came out the other side and rode off. We're the toughest." And the Harley guy's shaking his head. He's like, "Man, the other day I was riding through this neighborhood and 8 dudes jumped me, knocked me off my bike. I had to kill all 8 of them. And I got back on the bike. I didn't have a scratch on me." And the Triumph guy doesn't say anything. He just keeps stoking the fire with his dick.
oh, joke written by Triumph motorcycle owners. There,
That's
There
good.
you go.
that's
Yeah.
classic.
Now Evil would have made it a Harley,
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but okay. Yeah. But yeah, that is a great, that is a great introduction to the episode. Thank you. I I basically had 3 main heroes when I was a kid in the '70s, and it was Evel Knievel, uh, Reggie Jackson from the New York Yankees, the
Nice.
slugger,
I was
and
going to ask you to clarify where he was from because nobody's ever heard of Reggie Jackson before.
yeah. So, and then there was, Roger Staubach, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys,
Nice.
but yeah. But, after, revisiting Evel Knievel and just remembering what I saw him do and comparing it, and he says so in that documentary. I he's nobody could have done I don't care how big you are, how much of an athlete you are, nobody had balls like Evel Knievel to
No.
just stare down death on a routine basis, get the get every almost every bone in your body broken and do it again and
Yeah.
again. I just
Yeah. With no it was like his calling, but he was also very patriotic. So it was like
yeah,
uh
he
the
he was the
American
Ric Flair.
team.
He was Ric.
Yeah,
He was a Ric Flairish, right?
yeah,
Kind of character.
totally.
Um,
Well, he had a whole beef with the Hells Angels because they were drug dealers,
but yeah,
and
yeah, he
so
was all yeah, he was Hulk Hogan
are you
and
gonna
Ric Flair all put together into one. Yeah,
are you gonna tell that story about where he gets in the fight with the Hells Angels at the event and there's some arena he's in, and these Hells Angels are pissed
That's
at
when
him
he
because
jumps the,
he's
uh
been
that's when he jumps the buses in, San Francisco,
yeah,
I
yeah,
believe.
yeah.
and they
Yeah,
they
he,
so
he some guy was giving him the finger, right? One of the Hells Angels
yeah,
just giving him a hard time, and he kind of dared him, I guess. And he got on his bike, went right for him, and just and hit him.
slid
He went,
into him, did a little side skid right
yeah,
into
I
the
just
guy. Yeah, and
took
then
him out.
the the Hells Angels start attacking him, and then the crowd, this is the '70s, back when people had balls,
Oh, the crowd, yes,
a
the crowd
and
came
then the
in there.
crowd
Yeah,
jumps in and beats the hell out of all the Hells Angels.
yeah. You never
Yeah.
hear that story.
Yeah,
No,
it's in the
Yeah,
documentary. We're
that's
gonna link, go ahead.
the '70s icons, you brought up an interesting thing. I think for me, it was Evel Knievel, Elvis Presley, and probably Ric Flair, because I did watch wrestling. But what about you, Snags?
Oh, you know what the answer is gonna be there.
Just Kiss?
Yeah, of course, man.
Uh,
Those were the
nice.
'70s icons for me.
yeah, but
And there,
that was, like, uh you didn't have YouTube and shit, so when these people came up, it was
yeah,
everything, you
it was exactly wide world of sports. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Yeah.
$6 million man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Six
that's
million
another good
dollar
one.
man was the other one, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because both the $6 million man and Evel Knievel had a huge influence on how we dressed and how we played outside. The $6 million man had a denim jacket, so everybody had a denim jacket.
Yeah.
That's that was just the rule. And then Evel Knievel, we would build ramps and try to jump, over, whatever we could find, nothing like Evel Knievel. We had, just bicycles. But we would do that and wreck our bikes and ourselves and everything. Um, so yeah, they were huge influences
You have an
on
event where you're gonna jump 3 Herbie Kirby's and sell
yeah.
tickets?
No, we didn't go that far. We weren't that good. We couldn't do it. We did not have the brains or the equipment, but neither did Ebo. I mean, he used the street Harley bike. That's all he used with no suspension.
Yeah, he was talking about that. There's a documentary we'll link from the Click Pit, but he's saying that with the suspension they have nowadays on these bikes, and this documentary is I don't know, probably 10 years old or something. I don't know when it was made, but Matthew McConaughey hosts it, man.
Yeah, yeah, she did.
Talking about American hero,
It's
Evel
called
Knievel.
I Am Evil Knievel.
So uh we'll be linking that one from the Click Pit, and but he talks about that in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, should we like not assume that everybody knows who Evil Knievel is? Should I go through a short biography
Yeah,
or do
just
we,
so he
Yeah,
you know,
no,
he
let's
starts
start
out
from the
in,
start,
Butte,
man.
yeah,
Montana. He's,
I
raised
know.
by his
Yep.
grandparents. He's, just a wild child, probably starving for, the affection that, his parents should have given him, and I know his dad left him with his grandparents, and he really wanted to go off with his dad, and that didn't happen, and, um, and then he was
Beatles
stealing
got
hubcaps and running from the
Yeah,
cops.
Beatles got detailed notes. Just to track back real quick, though, that documentary that I was talking about is called Absolute Evil, the Evel Knievel story, hosted by Matthew McConaughey, man. So it's a good one.
It was good. Yeah, yeah, I totally enjoyed that. It was really well made. Um, so yeah, he was, according to, in that documentary, he says Butte, Montana, he said every kid should have grown up there. He had pretty much I would say a happy childhood, but he just went down the wrong path, initially, he was doing safe cracking, um,
Yeah,
until it got to the federal level, and
Federal
right.
he said he looked at himself in the mirror and said, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Just
Yeah, and
and that ended
I
it
think growing up in Butte,
for him.
Montana, he had the
So
freedom that kids, of that time, you made snowballs, you ran wild in the street, and it was not a lot of crime, so you just you had the idyllic, kind of fantasy childhood, and inevitably, they get a little older and start taking more and more, uh, daring, you know actions, and it caught up with him.
right. Um, so his first jump, once he started doing, the motorcycle jump, was over a bunch of caged rattlesnakes and mountain lions.
That's
So
insane.
40 40 feet,
And
and
thank God he put the mountain lions where he did, but I
yeah.
don't know
Now yeah, because he actually he came, he landed a little bit, early, I guess, and hit, knocked open one of the rattlesnake cages, so there was a bunch of rattlesnakes,
they,
Rattlesnakes
roaming
like,
got
got
around,
into
loose.
the
the
I
crowd
cows
and
thought he
freaking
shit.
said
out.
it was I thought he
Yeah,
said it was a cardboard box or something, like,
card
clips
I
the
thought
edge
they
of
were
the cardboard box that the rattlesnakes are in, something
cardboard
like
box.
that.
Yeah, I'm not
So,
sure about that, but I know they did get in the crowd and people were running and.
Yeah, this rattlesnake slithering everywhere after the jump because he clips whatever they were in with the back tire of his bike. Nice.
yeah, and, so yeah, that started his career, but he had to pretty much promote himself, um, early on, and one of my favorite, parts of the documentary was he was broke, but he was savvy enough to book the Caesar's Palace jump all by himself, and he
Yeah,
called the owner of Caesar's Palace pretending to be a reporter from the Los Angeles Times or whatever, and then the next day he would call being some other reporter,
yeah.
you know, drumming up interest in this Evil Knievel guy, not even
Yeah.
pronouncing his name right.
He would pronounce it differently every time he
Yeah,
called
every
because he
time
felt
he
like
would
that
pronounce
was
it
realistic.
differently.
Yeah. Who's this evil Neville guy? I want to write a
Right,
story on him.
right.
And I just
He
don't think
says
you
he's
could
going to
get
He
jump
away
says
with
he
Caesar's
that
wants
Palace.
to
today's, only then.
only then, yeah, no digital profiles back then, yeah, he
Yeah,
could
Yeah.
just
yeah.
yeah, you could bamboozle your way to the top, so he, eventually, gets enough in this guy interested enough where he shows up and the guy's like, "Where have you been? I've been looking for you." Right? So, he does book that Caesar's Palace jump, but my god, what a disaster. That was the longest jump he attempted, I believe, 141 feet, but we've all if you know anything about Evel Knievel, you've seen that tape of him, coming down, early on the landing ramp and just being tossed around like a rag doll, and the bike, kinda lands on top of him too, to finish it off, and he was in a coma for 29 days
Mm.
after that.
See, at that point, I would have said, maybe I'll go to a temp agency and fill out some applications and,
No. No,
see some
he's
other way to
right
make a
back
living.
on the bike. I mean, it's
Yeah,
the
crazy.
microsecond he could get back on that bike, he did. It just that's the crazy part of that. Um, but my thing about that jump is you always see that landing in slow motion. I have never seen, like, the real-time
Yeah.
video of it,
I don't know that I
not that it
have. I
makes
watched it a few times today, and it is just so painful to see him hit that
I
fucking ground.
how he survived it. I mean, oh, and he shows his helmet. He still has that helmet. He said the helmet saved his life.
Oh, I
But,
bet.
I mean, but and yeah, obviously that's true, but I mean, the rest of his
And
body didn't have a helmet on. I mean,
what
it's just
happened is when he came down on the other side, the bike clipped the ribbon at the top of the ramp, and it just
Mhm.
yanked his hands right off the, handlebars. He lost control and just, it threw him off the bike.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the highlight you always see with
And that
Evel
was
Knievel.
I mean, that was his first kind of well-publicized jump. Some of his
Yeah,
most well-publicized stuff, that one, Snake River Canyon, they were failures,
yeah,
but they were still
right,
they still, garnered him attention and still propelled his career forward.
right. And he had pretty good successes after that. I don't remember a specific. I think I remember the Kings Island jump, his last successful jump. Um,
Yeah.
and
I
that was
remember
over.
in the early '70s staying up and seeing some of them, but, when you go back, a lot of it was '72 and '73 and '74, and I would have
Yeah,
been too young. So I don't
yeah,
know, maybe they re-showed some of those, and that's how I saw them, but I remember there being
yeah,
specials and,
probably.
you whole
Yeah,
house full of people to watch, and, we would see some of this stuff. Um, but
yeah.
the
It,
Snake River Canyon, he had, initially wanted to jump the, Grand Canyon, and they told him he couldn't, and then he ends up buying, that area where he jumped, and,
exactly.
uh,
Yeah, it's
Well,
his
no,
canyon.
he wanted to jump the Grand Canyon,
that's what I said.
and okay, yeah, and then so he buys the Snake River. He got the moniker Evel Knievel in 1966. No, he adopted it publicly in 1966, but he was informally nicknamed Evel Knievel by a jailer when he was in jail in 1956. So he
Yeah,
was such a pain in the ass that the the one of the guards at the jail nicknamed him Evil. So
Well,
yep.
that's
there
where
was
he got
another,
that.
inmate or, somebody in jail that had a weird name, awful,
Awful
Knaufel,
Knaufel.
Awful
Yeah.
and,
Knievel. Yeah,
Evil Knievel was their joke, which is pretty clever for, some, Midwest, good old boys.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He was one in a million. He just yeah. The whole thing again. I keep thinking of Ric Flair for some reason because all the women he had being married and everything, it
Yeah.
didn't mean anything to him. You know,
Yeah,
he
and it was impossible. You'd look over at your wife like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?"
do
And,
right.
you know,
And that
Evil was, crack a beer and bang some broads.
Just
well, he would go back to his hotel room after these jumps. He said a lot of these women would come with their boyfriends and make the boyfriend wait outside the room, but they
Wow.
were just throwing themselves at him. Like he would just come back to chill out in his hotel room and there's women banging on the door,
and he
you
would
know.
ask. He said he asked one of the women. He's like, "Well, who's that with you?" She said, "It's my boyfriend." You know. So what's he doing? She said, if she said, to the boyfriend, "If you don't let me sleep with Evil, we're done. We're finished." get with this.
Wow.
All right,
All right.
man, just sit out here. I'll be done in
Yeah.
give me 45 minutes, give me an hour.
Unbelievable.
I'll have it
Yeah.
right back to you. There's
So
a crossword puzzle right there if you want to play crossword.
now I remember the Snake River Canyon jump clearly. I don't remember any of his motorcycle jumps clearly, but I absolutely remember ABC's Wide World of Sports and watching that rocket go off. Um, and I think he would have made it if it didn't malfunction. He blames an engineer for the parachute,
Yeah,
malfunction. As soon as it took off, the thrust from the, combustion, whatever, was, making the rocket take off, deployed the parachute. So the parachute was out, as he took off. So that totally, um, just
immediate
killed it.
drag on the rocket. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. So it
there's a documentary called Evel Knievel that goes into that, and, as it's taking off, they see the line, is out like it was deployed as it took off, casing cracked or something, and then there's people that think, just alone in that thing, the sudden takeoff caused him to pull it, or he was scared and pulled it, um, I just don't know that you can fully prepare for that type of, acceleration, and, they already said he would pass out and everything else, so I mean, you really no one will ever know, what you know, if he caused it. It looks like, the casing cracked, and I mean, this is all, thrown together in the '70s. They did something now, it would be completely different,
This is
sure.
like this is like that show Jackass on steroids. We're gonna I'm gonna launch myself across a canyon in a homemade rocket. What the who does that?
That's it. See, that's the thing about Evel Knievel, and he had that bravado like a Ric Flair. He wore the number 1, he just didn't care. He just did not apologize for anything he said, anything he did. Um, he just had that you can't be successful if you don't have that attitude when you're doing stuff like this. You have to believe that you're the best and you're actually gonna do this, you know? That that that's my opinion of him. He's just, crazy, but biggest balls and the most confident human being I think that ever walked the earth. Oh my god.
Yeah, he had, like, the thought process of people are busy dying, and I'm gonna be busy living. I'm not afraid, I'm gonna be concerned about my safety, but I'm gonna do these things, and I'm gonna do them for you because I said I would do them, and so he's hung up on, um, a man's word being the gospel, um, and, not backing down, but, I made a playlist, and in the playlist, I included the Evel Knievel album that was out in, like, '74, and he talks to kids, and he tells them, "Always wear a helmet," "If you ride your bike, wear a helmet." And this is in the '70s when nobody was wearing helmets on your bike, I think, until the '90s.
We didn't Yeah, we didn't have helmets. We wouldn't have known where to get them. There was
Yeah,
no
even if
helmets.
we
You know what
wanted
I mean?
to. Yeah, I mean, there
Right.
were
Yeah,
kids that wore, like, a football helmet when they were trying to,
yeah.
play act like they were, motorcycle guy,
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
but
Yeah,
so
they didn't really have bike helmets back then, you know?
no,
no,
but so
not like they do now.
he really was ahead of his time. I know as he got bigger, he got a little more brash and a little less, uh, caring as to what the reporters would think or anything. And so they would all gather and he would just rip them a new ass, which I kind of applaud that, but it certainly wasn't um, a popular point of view, you know.
Um, I wanted to jump back to the Snake River Canyon thing. So as he's descending in that rocket, he was very lucky to land on rock and not go into the river because he was strapped into that seat with duct tape, you know, and he could very well have drowned. If that thing if he had, like, landed upside down in the water,
Yeah,
he ain't getting out, you know?
So
He's
yeah.
even though
done.
divers were down there, uh and he was knocked out, right?
Well, I get that I don't know for
I
sure,
don't
but
think he was knocked out as he was parachuting down. He was knocked out briefly, and then all the blood came back to his head, he said. He had a blackout and then a red out where all the blood comes back to your head.
then you see him, you know, on a barge or whatever, you know, a raft or something, and he's waving to the crowd, you know, so he did come out of that kind of unscathed, I guess, but
Yeah, but if had he landed in the water, he certainly would have drowned for
well,
sure.
that's just crazy. Yeah, man.
I asked AI to list all of his injuries, and it's got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17,
Well, I
18,
know he
19,
broke
20.
35
It,
bones.
it's got 21 different stunts, and every one of them has injuries.
Multiple injuries, yeah.
Yeah, um I think he broke more than, yeah, he broke a lot of freaking bones over the years.
He
But
he holds the record for 35 broken bones is what the
yeah,
documentary
well,
said.
that was probably in one stunt. Yeah. Um, I'll ask total broken bones and career.
Total broken bones. How
That's
many
insane.
different bones? Are they the same bones or are they all different bones?
It's broken neck, broken collarbone, fractured hand, bruised back, bruised kidneys, broken nose, fractured pelvis. It's all over the place. I mean, probably broke everything every time. Cracked
But
ribs, fractured
that
vertebrae.
Caesar's Palace was, one of the worst for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. Yeah,
But there's 21 of his events. He broke something.
Yeah,
That's insane. That is
yeah.
you're for a living. You go out and break a hand, break a foot.
Well, and
You
the
know.
the other thing that we need to talk about with, Snake River Canyon is the Hells Angels were there. It was just this huge party out in no man's land, and they send a Butte, Montana marching band there, and they get off the bus and are immediately um, grab some of the one guy playing a tuba. They started throwing beer bottles in the tuba and rocks and trying to take his instrument. He said a girl that was in the marching band had her clothes ripped off of her. Um, it was absolute chaos. And then
Was
the
this
one guy
before or
that had
after they stabbed the guy at Altamont? These guys are
well,
just wherever.
that was in the '60s.
after.
I
Yeah,
know.
it was
So that would have been after,
So
but,
we
so he
don't learn,
suffered.
do we? We don't learn.
no, and then the guy that tried to organize it, um, he tried to call the National Guard in, and they're like, "Look, you're on your own, we can't get out there," and he's talking about hearing, uh, rapes and stuff, through the night, and you're like, "This is Evel
Boy,
Knievel, like a family, everybody's there to see this, you know, skyrocket go off and just absolute anarchy, uh,
wow.
pretty scary shit.
That's fucked up. I imagine if the Hell's Angels were there, there was that kind of shit going on. So he totally, throughout his total career, broke 433 uh he had 433 bone fractures over the
Jeez.
course of his career.
Oh,
So that's like every bone in your body,
yeah.
multiple
And
times
and
over and
towards
over
the
again.
end, he had trouble breathing. He was really it caught up to him. Uh,
Yeah. Um, yeah, his legacy lived on through his son, um, Robbie, and Robbie actually, I think, I could be wrong, but what I remember is he actually used a real, stunt bike. He didn't use a street Harley, if I recall.
right.
It can he
A lot
he
lighter and,
Yeah,
yeah. He successfully jumped, Caesar's Palace
Caesar's Palace. Yeah,
fountain.
yeah, he did that one. Um,
Well, the whole story there too is Evil Knievel had to convince him when he was doing that to add a safety ramp, basically. Like, he's gonna do the jump, there's the main ramp, and that's the ramp you try to hit, but if you realize you're not gonna hit that ramp, there was like a safety ramp, I guess, that was lower, that he could also just kinda hit that, and Robbie Knievel argued against him and was saying, "Absolutely, I'm not a pussy. I'm not gonna add no safety ramp." And Evel Knievel basically said, "I'm your father, and you're gonna add the damn safety ramp." And he would have been decapitated if there was no
yeah.
safety ramp, because
Wow.
that's what he had
Yep,
to end up landing
I
on.
didn't
yep.
know
So
that. Jesus.
yeah, that's
Um,
in the Absolute Evil documentary.
yeah, so I watched, the George Hamilton fiasco,
Oh
um,
god.
and
Tell
it's
us about
just
tell us about that.
it so it starts with a young Evil Knievel, stealing hubcaps and getting chased by the cops, and then him kind of, getting into safe cracking and stuff, but they were really trying to make an arty movie. Now, George Hamilton had already played, um, Hank Williams, so I feel like George was just purposely, injecting his look into everyone that they could come up with, because there's a Hank Williams movie that's almost the same thing as, here's George Hamilton with his hair slicked back, it's just, uh
Yep.
a hot
I
mess.
Yeah, I tried to watch it. I actually watched the beginning where he does that soliloquy on the
Yeah,
racetrack, and that
yeah.
was it. I'm like, "No way. I'm done.
Oh,
I'm out."
it's just
I got farther than you. I
oof.
got 20 minutes into it where he's back in Butt, Montana, and,
Yeah,
and everybody's calling him evil, even though he's probably wasn't being called evil early on, It's
yeah,
just
and
it it was bad.
he just looks ridiculous, but I think at the time, he was that popular, and they're like,
Sure,
let's,
yeah,
uh, let's
yeah.
run this and get some ass in seats," so,
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember it. Yeah, it was a big deal, sure. Yeah. I
yeah.
remember seeing it run on TV at some point.
Yeah, so I watched that one, it was called Evel Knievel, and then there's a 2004 with, Jamie Presley, and that's a much better movie, but it's, um, roughly the almost the same kind of script where it's, um, I'm just this out of control guy, and I've got these stunts and this family in tow, and they never see me and just all that, and I don't know how much I mean, I'm sure some of that was, accurate, but, he did have three kids with his wife, um, they were married for, like, 38 years, uh, even though he was out, chasing as many women as possible, I think a lot of that happened after the toys, and there was one Christmas where you either got, the Kiss dolls, the,
Yep,
$6 Million Man doll, or a, Evel Knievel, of some sort.
the stunt cycle.
I sent some eBay links to Snags earlier. We found
Yeah,
the River Canyon, rocket. Um, Snags found
man.
a bike, a rocket bike thing, still in the box for $700. Um, and then
Wow.
there's the,
See,
you know,
damn,
the wind up bike that shot off, you know?
I had yes. I've been waiting for this moment. I had the stunt cycle.
The
Bar
stunt
none,
cycle.
my absolute number 1 favorite toy of all time.
Yeah.
That thing was the best. You had, it came with the Evel Knievel doll with a cane, and you could put him on the bike, and you set it up on this little stand thing, and you wound it up, you push the button, and it would take off. Now, now we found that it was better, if you took him off, if you took the doll, the action figure off the bike would travel better without that extra weight on it and making it unbalanced. And so what did we do? Well, what did Evel Knievel do? He did jumps. So we would destroy these things
Yeah.
jumping,
Yeah.
setting up ramps. I remember setting it up at the top of our basement stairs, putting pillows down at the bottom of the stairs, thinking that'll just, that'll prevent anything from
Sure.
happening. And
Sure.
yeah, the first time one handlebar comes off, the second time, the kickstand comes off, and after 5 times, you have no more toy. It's gone.
Uh-huh.
It's just yeah,
We would
And your
wind that
parents
up
are
as
just thrilled. They spent money on that.
yeah,
yep.
chip tile and yeah, it's great. Uh, no, but we would wind that up as fast as we could thinking, "Oh my god, this is gonna go over the house," because how fast we're winding it up, you know?
Yeah,
And when you hit the release, sometimes it would go like, a foot and a half and just fall over, you know?
fall
Uh,
over.
you just never knew what was gonna happen. But in the commercial, that thing did, amazing
Yeah.
stunts.
Oh, the commercial, forget about it, yeah.
So
But
he
no, my
also go ahead.
absolute favorite toy of all time.
He also appeared in a 1977 movie called Viva Knievel,
Viva
and
Knievel, yeah.
this is a fictional story in which he plays himself as the hero. It co-starred Gene Kelly as a rancher, Lauren Hutton as a photographer, and Leslie Nielsen as a drug lord.
Yeah,
This is obviously before he took the
and
comedic turn.
yeah,
Uh,
he'd been a bad guy all through, like, Hawaii Five-O and, Columbo and stuff, so, uh, it was a fit at the time.
yeah,
But
the
Lauren
the
Hutton with
plot
her,
centers on
gap tooth and everything.
The plot centers on Knievel's fictional Mexican promotional tour, during which he uncovers and disrupts a cocaine smuggling operation, performing several motorcycle stunts in the process. Filmed partly in Mexico and California, the movie emphasized Knievel's anti drug message, though critics noted it had a formulaic script and Knievel's acting performance was wooden.
Yeah, he's
Wooden
pretty
acting
rough.
performance.
Uh,
Yeah.
he's pretty rough. You'd think, somebody might get in there and just have him do some natural things, almost ad lib his bits, but, I think when you try to give somebody like that lines, they just can't they can't,
Son, don't
transfer
you
it over.
know drugs are bad for you?
Yeah, yeah, they made
He's
2 of
also
them.
I haven't seen anything about a second one, but he was also
I thought there
in
were 2.
I don't think so. I think that was the only movie that starred him. But he was also in an episode of The Bionic Woman. So there you go. It's about that ties in with the whole Bionic Man thing we've been talking about. He played
Uh-huh.
a generic stunt guy in a Bionic Woman
Oh, I'm
episode.
gonna have to look
So
that one up. Lindsay Wagner, oh my god.
yeah,
Yeah,
1976.
yeah. I'm gonna have to watch that episode. Um, Now there was another, TV show that, kinda borrowed from his jumping stunts, and that was Happy Days, where Fonzie takes his street bike and jumps over, I don't know, what was it,
It
12
was a shark. It was a
No,
shark,
well,
dude.
that was later on, he jumped the shark. But
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
earlier, like, I don't know what season it was, but, there was a show called, You Asked For It, something like that, and Richie Cunningham sends in a letter saying he wants to see his friend Fonzie jump his motorcycle over 10 garbage cans or whatever. And so they bring this, the TV show brings this whole TV crew there to Arthur's, the place where they hang out all the time, and they set up this thing where he's gonna jump his street bike over 10 garbage cans, and he does, but it was a cliffhanger. It was a week-to-week cliffhanger. So the first episode ends with him in midair hanging,
Oh,
over
that's
these
literally
Oh,
a
garbage
cl
sure.
cans,
yeah.
and
Is
then
he
so
gonna
I
land
remember I was like,
safely? Tune in next week.
yeah, I was in 4th or 5th grade, and we were just losing our minds for that whole week. "Is he gonna make
Yeah.
it? What's gonna happen?"
That's hilarious. And you
So
gotta wait
But
a fucking
if
week.
you had to wait a week. Yeah, it was
if you
awful.
kids ever wonder where the phrase "jump the shark,"
So later
it
on,
that came from that
it's
show.
yeah, he jumps. I don't know why he did this, but they go to California because he thought he was gonna become a movie star. But what winds up happening is they take Richie Cunningham. They were done. They didn't want any more James Dean type characters. They wanted a fresh face, innocent boy look. So, but somewhere in that episode, he f- decides to jump over a shark in the water out there, and to prove some point, I guess. I just remember him getting into a fight with Richie over doing it. Richie doesn't want him to do it, um, for obvious reasons. So yeah, he jumps the shark, but that's where that phrase comes from because everybody says that's when Richie left the show and the show went downhill from there on. So
Ah,
anytime, yeah,
right.
that's
Well,
jumping
yeah,
the
the
shark.
the the high quality of Happy Days took a real hit when they wrote the Jump the Shark episode.
Yes, it
Yeah,
really went way down.
I think just the pressure of waiting all week, they lost. Um, but just so you know, that Bionic Woman is, season 3, episode 7, and it's an episode called Motorcycle Boogie.
Three
There you
seven.
go.
Okay, I gotta write this down.
Season 3,
3-7.
episode 7.
Okay, nice.
Jamie
I have this
Summers
Oh,
caught with her panties go missing, and,
Jamie's
uh,
I'm sure
Evel
that's the
Knievel
plot,
has to
yeah.
help her, sniff out
Yeah,
these,
sniff out the
these
culprit.
iconic panties. So
Now, just to clarify, Fonzie did not jump over the shark in a motorcycle. He used water skis.
yeah, he was on
There you
water
go.
The
skis.
ramp, the ramps were in the water, so he was jumping
Yes.
over the shark in the
Yes.
water.
I have a vague recollection. I'm reading in the Grokkapedia entry on Evel Knievel, and there's a whole thing in here about uh his last stunt that he was gonna do was in 1977 for a TV special called Evel Knievel's Death-Defiers, where he was going to jump a shark. There was a pool filled with uh, uh, a leap over a 64-foot shark-filled pool at Chicago International Amphitheater. And reading this is bringing up a memory of being at my cousin's house. This was on New Year's Eve, tuning in for this special. And when the special starts, it was a live special. We were going to see Evel Knievel jump a shark live. And they told us during the rehearsal, during the practice jump, he crashed. He sustained fractures to his right arm and left
Jesus.
collarbone. So the televised jump never happened. And I reading this is
Oh,
triggering that memory. I was at my
yeah.
cousin's house in Pennsylvania. We tuned in for this,
Yeah, 'cause
and
I
the
thought
show
he jumped
opens and
the
they're like, sorry everybody. He's got all messed up during the rehearsal and this is not gonna happen.
All right, so 2 things. You said
They
that was
still
only
tried to
si that
milk
was
it for ratings.
You said that was only 64 feet?
This is after the Wembley. The last big jump I think was
Yeah,
Wembley Stadium in '75, and
yeah,
Yeah,
he got seriously fucked up. And they drag him to the microphone. He says, "I'm never going to jump again."
yeah,
yeah,
He did some smaller jumps after
okay,
that,
yeah,
and this was the very last one.
okay. So
Um,
his
yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah, right.
so
His last
he left England, it was 13, buses, and he came back to America, and he ended up jumping 14 buses and said, "Okay,
14.
I'm
Yeah, right.
yeah,
That's
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
yeah, he's
but
like,
he did
"Alright."
say at the end of that England jump, he announced
Yeah,
to the
he was
crowd that
done."
he was done. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a heat of the moment, you know, comment, and he just probably realized, "Yeah, no, I can't stop." Um, and, "Alright, so I missed 13, I'll jump 14." You know, I mean,
yeah,
who
and
thinks like that? Who thinks like
that's
that?
what's so awesome about this man is he's drinking his own Kool-Aid. He's like, "I'm Evel Knievel. I can't quit,"
Yeah,
you know? It's
right.
like Hulk Hogan, letting down the Hulkamaniacs, you can't do that, you know?
Well,
So
and
Um,
his logic on the run up to the 14 bus jump, his logic was, well, 13's an unlucky number.
yeah,
So
13's right, there you go.
yeah,
Yeah,
so I'll do
yeah,
14. So as
14.
a special thing tonight, I wrote an Evel Knievel poem for tonight's episode.
wow,
So,
everybody, this is Silky's first ever poem on on the podcast. So it's a
yeah.
big deal.
So if you're ready,
I am ready, I'm ready.
Please
okay.
share it. Yes.
All right, it's called "This is Evel Knievel." Out from the plains of Montana with a heart of gold and the showmanship of old, the roar of the crowd, the roar of the bike, the flash of the lights as our hero speeds towards certain death, and the crowd holds its breath as this lone biker shoots head on into fame, fortune, and eventual legendary status. His fiery steed catapults into the air, held frozen in time as cameras snap this infamous moment. "Hey, Salt Man, come on tour and record my stats. When I don't like it, I'm getting a baseball bat. This is Evel Knievel, motherfucker."
That's
Nice.
awesome, dude.
That is
That's a
great, yeah,
great that's a great I had no idea you were
love
that
it.
talented.
Yeah.
I've known this guy all his life. I never knew he was that good of a writer.
So so there you
It's
go.
great.
Fantastic.
That's my
Yeah.
Evel
And
Knievel poem.
we'll talk about the baseball bat incident before the episode is over.
Yeah.
Now yeah, but when you said, speeding towards certain death, I believe was a line, right?
Yes.
That reminded me, for some reason, before he started jumping things, he would ride his motorcycle through walls of fire, right? Successive walls of not just 1. There was like 3 or 4 set up in
Yeah,
series,
no, it
and he
was
just plowed
they have
through them.
video of it. It's like
And then
5 or 6, like,
I
wooden
just
signs all burning fire,
so
and then
yeah.
he had a midget with him that dressed the same, and the midget would do the same thing that Evel Knievel did.
Well, a midget should get some credit then if he's doing the same exact thing.
Yeah,
Damn. Who was the midget?
uh,
Mini Knievel?
well, the midget would inevitably, wipe out and catch on fire and stuff, and, hol and,
He 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 went through successive midgets. Yeah, they
yeah,
all they kept dying like Spinal Tap drummers. They would just
yeah.
explode.
So so apparently that wasn't dangerous enough for him. He needed to step it up and start jumping over buses
Yeah,
and cars.
so he jumps over a guy on a bike, and the guy actually clips him right in the crotch and flips him, and that's when he
Oh,
said,
shit, right, yes,
I'm done doing this,
yes,
I'm gonna
yeah,
start, riding
right.
my bike over stuff."
So explain that stunt. You kinda went through it really quickly. This is before he's jumping stuff on his motorcycle. Guy's speeding towards him with on a motorcycle,
on
and
a
Evel
bike.
Knievel's supposed to jump in the air?
He would jump straight up, and the guy's supposed to ride under him, and as he rides under him, he just clips him right in the crotch and
Right in the nuts, yeah.
flips him, and,
Yeah, that's a bad idea. That's just that's serious just jackass right off
yeah,
the
oh,
top type
totally,
stuff.
and
Yeah,
I think as
yeah.
he's hitting the ground, he's like, "Yeah, this is I'm not doing this."
I'm not doing that again. I'm gonna jump a canyon. I'd rather jump a canyon than get my balls
Yeah.
clipped like that again,
Well, I
so
mean, if you think about a successful jump, each time he did it, more people would come to. They don't want to see him die, but they want to be there if he does. You know, that was his mentality. That's how he sold it to these promoters.
So in your poem, Silky, you mention Sheldon Saltman, you mentioned a baseball bat.
Yeah,
I'd like Beetle Bailey to kind of let us know what happened and then have you comment on it.
sure.
Man,
The book's
Saltman. Oh
called
man,
On
now
Tour. Evil Knievel on Tour came out in
Tell us
1977.
tell us what book he's talking about, Beetle Bailey. Tell
geez,
us the
yeah.
story.
No, you're stumping me. I know what you're talking about, but
So
Okay,
you don't
better
remember that incident?
that's fine.
I can
So
let Silky you
So
tell us.
he's Sheldon Saltman is his, like, PR guy, and, he says, "Hey, follow me and just record everything," and at the time, Evel Knievel's like, "Yeah, sounds good, sounds great," and Saltman's showing him different bits that and, Saltman has all these cassettes, and in the documentary, Evel Knievel, um, he plays some of these cassettes, and he puts it out, and then, the book comes out. Now, I started telling Snags this before we started the show. Elvis Presley had a similar tell-all book come out in the '70s, and he really went all out to try and get this book pulled off the market. And when you read it, it's not that far from your image of him anyway. So it's really you're not quite sure what the problem is, but um, uh, the first page of the book is some bit about sex and everything, and I think Evil is just like, oh my god, and then as he's reading the book, he's getting more and more angry, and so when
well,
he
they were lies.
sees,
Yeah.
yeah, he
I'm
was
sorry,
saying
now
he
it's
was all
coming a lot of lies, like he hated his mother, just this made up stuff that had
really.
no truth to it. That's right. Yeah,
Oh,
you just
well, that's not
yeah, there
how
was a number of things that just were not true,
weren't true?
and
Okay.
you could yeah.
But
So, yeah, he takes the big
there's a
people.
panel of Evel Knievel, friends and fellow stunt guys that were like, "Yeah, this happened. This is legit."
Apparently, the book said he beat his wife. He was planning on defrauding the promoters of the Snake River Canyon jump. Um, so, he's just saying he didn't beat his wife. He wasn't planning on ripping off the promoters of the Snake River Canyon jump. So, who knows? I'm sure some of that stuff was true. It was probably shocking to read a book back then about that he's just banging all
Well,
these groupies while he's
and if you think
Mr.
about
Wholesome Family Man.
him on painkillers and booze, I would venture to say he didn't know what the hell he was saying. I mean, even when he's out yelling at the media trying to, interview him and stuff, he was a bit of an asshole, and I think he kind of lost his focus, and then, he sees Saltman, and Saltman's thinking, "Hey, buddy, uh, we should do a tour and promote this book," and he, suddenly, the way Saltman describes it, his arms are held behind his back, some people came up behind him and held him, and, uh, Evel Knievel attacks him with a fucking baseball bat and broke both his arms and went to court. and basically admitted, "Hey, you know what? I'd do it again. Fuck this guy." And that's
Yep.
when the
Yeah, he was unapologetic. Yeah,
oh, yeah. And that's when
unapologetic, went to jail.
the ideal, toy company said, "You know what? We don't make toys, with serial killers, and, we're not gonna start now with, and that's
Yeah, all his toys got pulled, all his revenue generating stuff basically came grinding to a halt, so that really,
and he lost
uh
millions, like, overnight, that way,
yeah.
you know?
Well, also, the Saltman filed a civil lawsuit, and he was awarded $12.75 million of Evil Knievel's money. So,
And then,
it,
his kids and wife get evicted, a lot of their stuff, probably, repossessed by the IRS and the FBI. Uh, Not a good day at the Knievel house.
he was over $1 million in debt by 1981. So he went from flying high with mansions and a private jet and all that stuff to
But
having a tough time.
we should make note that, your Tony Hawks and some of these, skater dudes and, by the mid '80s, early '90s, um,
Yeah,
they had grown up watching Evel Knievel, and he was a huge influence on their, daring and whatnot, and,
yeah,
you had a whole
and
new yeah, the
The
X
X
Game
Games.
yeah,
Yeah, there's no X Games if there's no
yeah.
Evel Knievel. Yeah.
Exactly. But the X Games, extreme sports in general, all from his influence, and I think they sought him out, and, in his later years, he was actually back at kind of in the scene, uh, you know, talking to them but he basically remarried and lived out his life down in Florida. So,
And his
Yes.
son,
Yeah.
Robbie Knievel, followed in his footsteps, and he spent a lot of time promoting Robbie's, career.
yeah, Robbie has done a lot. I and this is weird, is I don't know if we saw Robbie Knievel at something or if it was on TV, and I really tried to rack my brain, and I just don't remember enough, whether we were
Yeah,
actually there.
I never saw him live, but I do remember watching the
Okay.
Caesar's Palace thing on pay-per-view, and I think that was on New Year's Eve
Uh-huh.
that he did that.
There was
I don't know
something
what year it was.
at a mall or something, and I don't think I was there, but then in your memory, you see somebody on a bike, and maybe I saw somebody else, uh, doing a, a Super Dave kinda stunt thing,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
when we were
Well,
little. So
he kicked the bucket in 2007, and Robbie kicked the bucket in 2023. So,
really?
Wow.
um,
That
Yeah.
sucks.
pancreatic cancer for Robbie. Robbie died of pancreatic cancer. So his son, Kelly Knievel, kind of runs the the intellectual property rights and everything at this point.
The motorcycle toy has come back, and you can buy it for about 50 or $60. It's a complete replica, um, uh, mainly geared at people like me and Beetle Bailey,
I mean, yeah, exactly, it's gonna happen.
that see it and go, "Shit, I need that." Um,
Yeah,
and then, there's all the T-shirts. I mean, we all had them. I grew up I had a number 1 T-shirt with, Evel Knievel riding out of the one. Now, Beetle, I wanted to ask you, do you remember the Evel Knievel video game? It was like a motorcycle, and you did a jump. Um,
no, I don't. I do
it
not.
was in the arcades, very similar to, like, Asteroids, just a white line, background, and,
Okay.
a guy on a bike would go towards a ramp, and you had to hit the button hard enough to keep the wheelie up, and if you did it right, the bike would sail across, and this stuff would move underneath, and he would come down and back up and stuff. Uh, and
All right.
I remember, my mom would go to the bar and they would just give the kid some quarters and I would play that, you know. Um, you had like
Sure.
that
Yeah.
shuffleboard at this one bar. So you had the bowling, uh, you had that little hockey puck and you'd sail it to knock the bowling
Oh,
pins
yeah, yeah.
down.
Absolutely. That's how you got good at that stuff when you had nothing else to do, right?
But yeah. So
Um,
that was the era that this Evel Knievel video game, but I don't remember what it was called. It may have not been Evel Knievel, but it was certainly made to look that way, a guy on a bike jumping shit.
okay.
So,
Now now I am not a motorcycle guy. I've never been a motorcycle guy. Either of you 2
Nope.
no, I
have a
I've
I,
motorcycle?
had
um, I toyed with it and got, a pretty nasty, motorcycle accident and skinned my knee up really bad, uh, to where I've always had knee issues since. So, that was my you know
See, I did not know that about Silky. I was gonna say I have 2 friends that got into motorcycles and both quit after they had accidents. Now I have 3 friends
well,
that got into motorcycles and both
and
quit
then
after they had accidents.
it was named after, a guy that my dad knew that died on a motorcycle, so that was the kinda
Oh,
taboo. He did not
yeah.
want me messing with
Good
motorcycles.
good reason to go get a motorcycle, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, um,
I
so
have a good
anyway
friend I have a good friend who wiped out on a motorcycle story. He I won't name names, but this is like 30 years ago, was riding his bike too fast around a corner, knew he couldn't make the corner. It was a curve going to the right, and he
dead
couldn't
man's
see if
curve.
anybody else it was a blind curve. He couldn't see if anybody else was gonna be coming around the other way, but he had no choice. He went, straight off into a field and wiped out, but not only did he wiped out into a patch of poison ivy.
Oh,
He
Oh,
shit.
had
man.
he had
That's
poison
Ah,
ivy.
that's
I
oh,
terrible.
mean, it was just insult to injury to injury. It was just, yeah,
yeah.
ridiculous.
You imagine being laid up in the hospital with broken bones and poison
Oh,
ivy?
And poison
no, thank you.
That's terrible.
Uh, I
oh my
wanted to
god.
say, and I know you guys will probably, chime in. Um, we've done a lot of shows. This is episode 121. Um, certainly some shows I really did not care too much about. Um, but this is one of those iconic people that just really captured my imagination in the 70s. And I'm glad we finally did an episode. I think we did him good on this one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. He
Beetle
was the
Bailey's
man.
suggestion. Thanks for
Yeah.
bringing it up. Good idea.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that's so there's a playlist that I included. It's got a ton. There's You're gonna laugh as you go through it. There's a lot of songs that are just called Evil Knievel, and they're all different.
If you search Spotify songs Evil Knievel, there's a million of them. So
It's
apparently
Wow.
he
funny.
inspired a lot of people
That
to
says
Yeah,
a
write
lot.
songs.
That says a
yeah.
lot. Okay.
But, I sent that to you as well, Beetle, and, starts, that I spread the, Evel Knievel record out throughout, so there's little bits throughout, um, and, it opens with Montana, Frank Zappa, so
Nice. Nice touch. Yes.
yeah,
Cool.
but, and it's, inspired stuff that makes you think of, riding bikes and stuff, Speed King's in there, stuff like that, so, uh
Riding on the Wind, I saw that one in there.
yeah, yeah, that's in there.
And
Um,
Bionic Woman episode 3, I'm sorry, season 3, episode 7.
yeah, I might have to go watch that myself. I'm interested to
Yeah.
see where her panties end up. Poor thing.
Terrible. They're bionic panties too, so but we
Yeah,
won't get
oh,
into that.
Oh,
oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Andy.
No, they'll knock you
Yeah,
down.
That
that's
doesn't
right.
sound
Okay. Well, that's all I got, kids. Anything else?
I'm good. You got anything,
Yeah,
Beetle?
thank you again, guys. Again, always a pleasure. This was awesome. Evel Knievel was, again, one of my 3 heroes when
Yeah.
I was a child. Yeah,
I and when
so
you mentioned it, it was such a obvious, like, God, that's I'm so glad we did this one. Um, you know, uh, Evel Knievel and Bigfoot, there were iconic
it's
people in our childhood, but,
I
uh
don't know if we could fill up a whole hour on Bigfoot.
no, no, you'd
Although,
really have to do $6 Million Man and
yeah.
yeah, because he was
delve
on the
off
$6
into
Million Man. There was a $6 Million Man Bigfoot episode or two, if
he
I
was
recall.
Andre the Giant played Bigfoot, and he was in there.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. I thought that Hervé Villechaize was not available, so they got Andre the
No,
Giant
exactly. Yeah,
instead.
he,
Yeah.
Now there's an
he
episode, Hervé Villechaize.
yeah,
Yeah. There you go.
we have to do that Forbidden Zone
Yeah.
movie.
That movie was hilarious, but
Yeah.
completely
All
off
right,
topic.
kids.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Peace out,
Okay.
everybody.
deuces,
Adios.
everybody.